Welcome. I wanted to personally welcome you to your class in A Perfect Love Letter. Maybe give you some ideas of what might make this experience rich, because it is an experience. You're already thinking about who you want to write your letter to, who you want to receive it. And so this week, allow that, in the coming days, allow that to come in and out of your mind. And if you think of something that you really like or you enjoy, jot it down on a piece of paper. And in your contemplation of the person, you may find that you even dream of them. If that happens, definitely write that down. And the things that you might bring or prepare for the class, you'll want to have paper. It can be any kind of paper. It can be typewriting paper. It can be one of those journal notebooks. It can be legal size paper. It can be drawing paper. Although it's a class and it has a discipline and a science to it, you're going to find that discipline and science unlocks your creativity, and you may surprise yourself, which would be wonderful. The when you'll want to think about, you'll want to set aside 3 hours on Sunday. Pigeonhole yourself in a place where nobody's going to disturb you for the time that we are involved in the classwork. You don't want to be disturbed. So communicate this week with whoever you need to communicate with, that they understand that this is time set aside, that you may be gone from the house, or you may just not want to be disturbed. Make agreements about that. Bargains, whatever you need to make, right? You'll want to start about a half hour earlier so that you have everything in place. You want to think about having all the utensils that you need there. Sure that you've gone to the restroom beforehand, and that you have some water or tea or coffee or whatever you want to be drinking during the time that we may be doing this, so you can stay hydrated. And in and out of your mind, when you have your where and your when and your what and your who, in and out of your mind will be your why. And I wanted to share part of my why, of why I'm even doing this. A large part of the why has to do with a man that I never personally met, but I know him. I know him because I have read his writings. That's something that writing offers, is a very deep look into the soul of the writer, when we allow. I used to own this book and I gave it away, so I don't have it now. The book is a paperback size. It fits in your pocket. It was published, I think, in the very early 80s, I believe. It was a frequency of read that really did justice to its title, which was Love. Simply Love. And I want to read to you the introduction of the book. So thanks to Google, I found the PDF of the book, as you could too if you like. And I just wanted to read part of the introduction to you as a way to share my why. In the winter of 1969, an intelligent, sensitive female student of mine committed suicide. She was from a seemingly fine, upper middle class family. Her grades were excellent. She was popular and sought after. On the particular day in January, she drove her car along the cliffs of Pacific Palisades in Los Angeles, left the motor running, walked to the edge of a deep cliff overlooking the sea, and leaped to her death on the rocks below. She left no note, not a word of explanation. She was only 20. I have never been able to forget her eyes, alert, alive, responsive, full of promise. I can even recall her papers and examinations, which I always read with interest. I wrote on one of her papers, which she never received. A very fine paper, perceptive, intelligent, and sensitive. It indicates your ability to apply what you have learned in your real life. Nice work. What did I know about her real life? I often wonder what I would read in her eyes or her papers if I could see them now. But as with so many people and situations in our life, we superficially experience them, they pass, and can never again be experienced in the same manner. I was not blaming myself for her death. I simply wondered what I might have done if I could have, even momentarily, helped. It was this question more than anything else that led me in that year to start an experimental class. It was to be an informal group with voluntary attendance, where any student could be present or drop out at any time if he so desired. It was to be dedicated to personal growth. I did not want it to become problem-centered or group psychotherapy, nor an encounter group. I was an educator, not a psychotherapist. I wanted this class to be a unique experience in learning. I wanted it to have a definite yet loose framework and be of broad interest and import to the student. I wanted it to be related to his immediate experience. Students with whom I was relating were more than ever concerned with life, living, sex, growth, responsibility, death, hope, the future. It was obvious that the only subject which encompassed and was at the core of all of these concerns and more was love. I called the class Love Class. I knew beforehand that I could not teach, in the formal sense, such a class. It would be presumptuous. I too was limited in any knowledge and experience of the subject. I was as actively engaged as any of my students in discovering what the real meanings of the word were. I would only be able to act as a facilitator to the students as we guided each other closer to an understanding of the delicate phenomenon of human love. That is part of the introduction of the book Love by Leo Buscaglia. Leo left this planet several years ago now. He left a legacy of love. PBS found him early on. He was a professor at the University of Southern Cal. That's where he taught this class. Every time Leo would speak, people were moved. And you can look it up on YouTube and find talks by him. And if you want to do that this week, I think that would be great. I would really feel wonderful that I introduced you to him if you don't know who he is. You really don't have to prepare for our class, just like you didn't need to prepare for his. Because as he said, love is all-encompassing. That's what we'll be exploring. And more than human love, we're going to be exploring divine love. That's the perfect part of the letter. Not how you do the letter, but the fact that there is a perfection in terms of an ideal of what love is. And its sometimes forgotten companion, compassion. Since I learned about Leo in the 1980s, I've been actively pursuing understanding love. I will do that until the day that I'm no longer here, in ways like this with you. And what I'll bring is some of what I've learned in all those years as a way of perhaps stimulating greater and deeper depths of love in you. So that's what we're looking forward to. A time together where the subject will be love, and we will be putting thoughts and words and images to that. And the ones that we find and deem worthy of giving to the person that we want to send our love letter to are the ones that in those few minutes together we'll each decide in our own private heart are those that we want to give. I love you just because you are.